Hey everybody, welcome back to the SilverSilk and More YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do a quick and easy wrap bracelet using a few different jewelry making techniques. We're going to do a little bit of stringing with some gemstone beads. It's a great opportunity if you have leftover gemstone beads or just orphan beads lying around in your stash. I like to hoard stuff, so I know I do, and this was a great excuse for me to use them up. We're also going to be doing a little bit of macrame using the jewel loom or actually the SilverSilk Loom by Jewel Loom. And this is great for holding silver silk as you macrame, and I'm really excited to show you how to use it. So I'm actually going to pan over to the photo of what we're going to be making, and then to my work desk here. And I've actually got the bracelet here in real life that I can show you. So again, just a bunch of leftover gemstone beads that happen to match, and I'm using the rustic leather cord. And I'll get into all those materials and stuff separately as we're continuing down the list of tools and materials here. But I just wanted to show you in length like what this looked like. So it's split into 3 parts, and then it's sort of just wrapped around your wrist together. Doesn't really work well for a necklace, but I will say for a multi-textural bracelet, it's pretty awesome. All right, so let's get into the tools. First is our jewel loom, SilverSilk Loom, which I mentioned earlier. These notches are just big enough for SilverSilk's capture chain and the leather cord chain that I'll be showing you here in a little bit. And they're spaced out just so perfectly if you want to stitch beads between it. In this case, I'm just going to be using it to hold my SilverSilk in place as I'm macrameing over it. And you can find this, by the way, with the link that I posted in the description for this video. If you're wanting to grab a lumen, if you haven't already, highly recommend it. I need my crimpers. Let me grab those. These are some Zoran crimpers that I have around. Love them. I've got a pair of chain nose pliers and a pair of wide nose pliers that have been dipped in a product called Tool Magic. Which basically makes a kind of a coated rubberized tip there on the end of my pliers. And the reason for that is it's great to grip my SilverSilk findings because they are pretty smooth, and it's not going to cause any abrasion within the crimping process, so that the edge of the plier won't create any nicks or cuts in the finding itself whenever I'm pressing it down. So lots of great advantages to Tool Magic. Highly recommend that you get it. Again, that's in the video description if you're wanting to grab some. I've got my cutters as well and my materials. Here I've got, as I mentioned, the rustic leather cord. This is a dark brown colored leather cord with a hematite wire that's been knitted over it. Essentially, it takes 6 latch hook needles that take a thread, or in this case, a thread of wire. And it creates a sock, essentially. It knits a sock together that's sort of drawn over and down onto the leather cord. So roughly the diameter of this cord is between 2.5 to 3 millimeters, give or take. And so it's consistent with the rest of my chains, and especially in size. And in the website, on the website, silversilkonline.com, in fact, if you look up this product, the knitted leather chain, you can see that there are other shots of the products lined up together, and you can see the size comparison. And you'll see that it is all very similar in size, especially for this. And I just truly love this color. It's very natural. It's very earthy. And it's great if you're making, jewelry for the guys in your life that want a little bit more of a masculine, tough, sort of rustic jewelry design. And yeah, that's what I got. I have got 2 end caps. So I'm using the antique brass single-strand end caps from my custom findings collection. So these are great to use for capture chain and the leather cord. The reason why is that there are little teeth inside of the channels, and this comes in a double and triple strand as well. But the single strand is great for the wrap bracelet. So I'll show you guys how to use it here momentarily. And yeah, you simply just place the cord into the notch, into the channel there. And then you just basically squeeze it shut with your wide nose pliers. So there's no glue or anything special other than just those wide nose pliers involved for constructing this design. But you'll need a couple of those, and those are sold as a pair. Other than that, I've just got a couple of 4 inner diameter millimeter jump rings. That's in the same antique brass or antique gold finish as my findings. I've got some crimps. One happens to be stuck to my magnetic clasp. So you'll need 2 millimeter crimps. I got these from Softflex Company. You will need some medium beading wire, which I have already strung some gemstone beads on, not to jump too far ahead into the materials list. But this is the medium-sized beading wire in antique brass, and I went ahead and, in fact, crimped one end just to move the video along, as you can see. And, you know, again, just grab some gemstone beads from my stash. So you'll need all of those things. And then, of course, a clasp. In this case, I've got a magnetic clasp. And last but not least is, well, actually 2 things. Leather cord, 1 millimeter leather cord, about 2 yards. Have it in gray. And then some seed beads. This is size 6 seed beads, and I just found a coordinating color that was in my stash of things and decided to work with those. So I'll pour those out and show you guys how to use it. But for now, let's go ahead and construct the main part of our bracelet, which is going to be everything except the macrame. And so what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and crimp both sides of our knitted wire, our knitted leather chain first. So I'm going to grab my finding, and I'm just going to make sure that there's no extra bits of wire sticking out from the end of my chain here. Sometimes you got to pluck them away, just like that. And those things tend to kind of get in the way of crimping. So that looks good. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick on my finding. Okay, sometimes you might have a little piece of wire that sticks out there. What I do is I just undo what I just did and then kind of press it back in. And you can even kind of go in at an angle and then twist it onto there. And that kind of helps twist the wire around the leather cord there. So that way it doesn't poke out. And then grab your wide nose pliers and give it a good squeeze. Okay, the seam should be shut and it should be nice and secure. So we'll do that to both sides. Oops. Okay, you got a little remnant fuzzy there, wire fuzzy as I like to call them. Just got a couple of those out. And then go and squeeze it into the end cap. Make sure there's no extra bits of stuff sticking out, and then just give it a good squeeze. If you do end up with a little piece of wire, as I just did, sticking out there, you can go in with your cutters and just nip it right off. If you're lucky, you don't have to, but sometimes that happens, and it's okay. It's easy to fix. All right, so that is 2/3 of our bracelet. And the final third is going to come from our bead stringing. So again, you can use orphan beads. That's what I did here. A lot of mismatched, but perfectly happy together beads into my, and these are just random gemstones that I found in Tucson. So most of it, I have no idea what it is. I think I used it for kits and stuff for SilverSilk. But, you know, I just end up with like 2 or 3 beads at the end. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Well, this project was just needing to be constructed for that. So I'm going to crimp one side of my gemstone mix here to my finding. So that's what I left out this side for. So I'm simply going to grab my 2mm crimp, go ahead and string it through your end cap and go back down through the crimp and through a bead if you're able to. Sometimes with the gemstones, it's real tricky and you're not usually able to, but these gemstones seems to be big enough. I want to make sure that this is left flexible. If it is kind of like stiff or whatever, it's not going to lay right. It's not going to circle around and, you know, conform to your wrist or anything. So you want to make sure you leave it pretty flexible. And so I just test it kind of back and forth. And then I'm ready to crimp. So I'm going to go into my V-shaped notch first, give it a good press, and then go in at a side and then squeeze it shut as such. There we go. And you'll know that it's crimped just by simply pulling on it. And you can go ahead there and cut off your remaining beading wire. So that is the full length of our bracelet. And, you know, I spared you guys the stringing portion of it. But the rest of it is just going to connect together via jump rings. And then we'll sort of macrame this whole thing together. So at the moment, I was looking for, which I don't know where I put now, my magnetic clasp. So I'm sure that'll pop up here somewhere. It probably, oh, here's where it is. Stuck right onto something metal. Okay, so let's go ahead and stick this clasp onto my design so it doesn't go anywhere again. And we are ready for our macrame portion. So this is probably the most time-consuming part. However, I'm going to get you guys started, but I probably will refrain from finishing on camera. But honestly, to finish it is just as easy to start it. So, and I'll definitely talk you guys through all of the process there. All right, I'm going to grab my loom and I'm going to stick my wire or my chain down into that first notch securely, just like this. Okay, I'm going to do that to both sides. Should just lay right under the end cap. And I'm going to grab some seed beads. I'm going to have those here out to the side. Okay, whoop, oh, we're runaway. And I'm going to grab my leather cord. So you're going to take your two links. Well, sorry, let me say that again as I'm untangling this. Your 2 yards of leather cord. And I'm on the background here untangling it, by the way. There we go. All right, your 2 yards, and you're going to half it so that you get a loop here at the top. And I'm going to take that loop under my chain. And to macrame, I'm going to create a number 4, and I'm going to take the right side of my cord, go over this left side of the 4, or at least, you know, the stem of the 4. That's what I'm going to go over the stem of the 4, and I'm going to go under the chain and up through the loop that was creating the number 4. So that basically I get a square knot right through. Or actually, I'll get a square knot and then I just tighten it here at the top. And it should look like this as the first stitch. And after that's done, it's kind of held in place so that my links stay equal to each other. And I'm going to string on my beads. I'm going to string on 5 at a time to each side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you could do 10. Doesn't really matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, just kind of put those up close. I'm going to do a very loose little half knot there, a little to keep a loop. That way my beads don't fall out. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, All right, so I'm just gonna do 5 on that side too. These guys for a little later. Okay, and again, I'll just create a little slip knot there so that my beads don't fall out. Okay, I'm going to do one more knot without beads. So the way to do this is we had our number 4 coming from the left-hand side. So we're going to create a sailboat on the other one. So we're going to do another triangle shape that looks like, again, a sail. And I'm going to go over with my left side and under the sail, the chain and the sail. Okay, once I pull that through, you'll notice that my first stitch is complete. And this is the process that we'll be doing throughout the rest of our macrame. So before continuing on, I'm going to string on a bead from either side, for both sides really. Okay, and I'm going to create a number 4. Go over and through, making sure that that bead kind of stays in place. And when I pull it together, it should just line up, whoops, pretty well. Okay, same thing. We did a number 4, so now you'll do a sailboat. Okay, do a triangle so that it comes over the chain, and you're going to go up and through the sail. So number 4 and then sailboat. I think that's probably going to be the key takeaway for this macrame. All right, so bead, bead, number 4, over through, and then we'll do a sailboat. Okay, sailboat, over through. Oops. There we go. And you can tighten this as you go along. We'll do this a few more times so that you guys get the idea of number 4 after putting the beads on together as such. Number 4, up through. And there are so many tutorials for macrame out there. So if my explanation doesn't help you, definitely you can look on YouTube even more and go through the rabbit hole of all of the different YouTube tutorials of macrame. This is looking gorgeous though. Really digging this. Okay, again, we're starting a new stitch. So number 4. And then sailboat. And you'll start to get really fast, especially if you have your beads pre-strung. Okay, we're going to finish up this last one. Okay, number 4, up and over. Whoops. Let's do this. There we go. That knot was getting stuck in the way. Okay. In fact, I can go ahead and take that out because I don't need it anymore. And then we'll do a sailboat. Up and through. There we go. So you basically continue this stitch work all the way down until you get to your first third of your bracelet. This is probably about 7.5 to 8 inches of macrame. And then at the end, all I did to tie it off is I just made a knot on my wire, on my leather cord so that it doesn't go through the stitching. And then I just added a couple extra beads and made another knot there at the end. So it's pretty easy to wrap it up, as you can see. You can always apply a little bit of jewelry glue, E6000 or Loctite, to the leather cord to prevent it from, falling out of place. I've had pretty good luck with this one so far, not coming out or anything. And that's pretty much it for how to construct this. There's only really the macrame doing the heavy lifting as far as technique goes. And here I'll show you once again how it is when it's all put together. Okay, and I'm going to pan back up over to the project and back to my face. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial as much as I did teaching it. A clever use of materials, and I'm such a mixed media person anyway. I can't just stick with the one thing in the project. I gotta have like X, Y, and Z to make it a design, right? And so hopefully that translated well to you guys as a tutorial and that it's inspired you to go out and make something with your orphan beads. If you enjoyed this content, please give this channel a subscribe and be sure to give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment if you did enjoy the video and if you do enjoy the content, because all of that stuff is so important for the health of the channel. And let your friends know that SilverSilk tutorials exist if you have more creative folks in your life that you want to inspire. Otherwise, you can go follow me on Instagram, and then we've got a fabulous Facebook group called the SilverSilk Silkies. There, it's a thriving community of SilverSilk enthusiasts that use SilverSilk in their design projects. And when they post pictures, I just glow because with so much excitement, so much inspiration, and we all have different creative ideas and learn so much from each other. And so it's just a wonderful place to meet, to chat, and to get to know each other and keep you guys in the loop of what's going on in SilverSilk land. So again, I leave you guys hopefully inspired, and I will see you at the next tutorial, and happy beading until then.